Hi everyone, it's Laura, and I hope you're all doing well. And so today I wanted to talk about how to start listening to your body again, because so much of health, overall health, whether it's physical, mental, whatever it may be, has to do with listening to your body. And so many times we live outside of our body. We live for external cues, and our drives are externally. Everything happens externally. And so part of learning to listen to your body is making those things be inward and learning more about your body. And so what I'm going to do today is give you some tips on if you're someone who you don't listen to your body, or you don't even know where to start to listen to your body, then I'll give you some tips on how to do so. So tip number 1 is to slow down and relax. And I know in our society, we're go, 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 go. We're super busy. We have this and that and this and that. But a lot of times it's just we don't want to make it a priority. We don't want to take the time to do it. Because our priorities in life, we get done. It's just we choose to not make slowing down and relaxing a priority, because for some reason our society views it as being weak or something. You know, it's almost like it's like not cool to say work today was fine. You know, it's almost like you're like, you have more like pride or something to be like, oh, this week's been so busy at work. You know, it's stuff like that for me, I know I mentioned this in another video, but for me it's driving. I really like, I guess is the word, or out of habit, I weave through traffic. I'm one of those people that speeds, runs red lights, blah, 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 blah. And I've really been trying lately to just slow down, because 90% of the time I'm not running late. I just choose to drive that way for some reason. But for what? It just causes me anxiety, and I almost get into a million wrecks. The same can be said for eating, even for exercising. Slowing down and enjoying the food. When you sit down for a meal, trying not to just stand and eat or eat while you're driving, but cutting out a chunk of time for you to eat. Super, super important. One thing that I've been practicing for a while now is when I sit down for a meal, not just going straight into eating, but breathing, taking time if I'm eating with someone to finish whatever I was saying, and not just like stop in the middle of my sentence. Or if someone else is talking, not just they're in the middle of a sentence, I'm looking at and making eye contact. Oh, the food's here. Oh, I'm gonna put my head down and stop eating. And then 5 minutes later be like, what were you saying? And so a lot of slowing down and relaxing can really benefit us when we're trying to listen to our body. Because if we're not taking the time to do so and recognizing our body cues, then we're never going to hear them. You know, it's not that our body's not talking to us, it's that we're not taking the time to listen to it. And something that I've really found valuable is there's an app called Headspace, and it's free. And you can download it, and it's 10-minute meditation sessions. And I've really enjoyed doing that. And it kind of puts you, I mean, ironically, the app's called Headspace, but it puts you in a different headspace. And it's hard to explain unless you've meditated on a regular basis, but it just puts you in a different mindset. And for me, even before I get out of my car, wherever I'm going, even just sitting there for 10 seconds and taking a couple deep breaths, it just puts me in a different place. And it literally took 10, 15 seconds in order to just take a few deep breaths and just slow down. So that's something I really encourage you to do, whether it comes to, we talked about diet, but also when it comes to physical activity. A lot of times when we try and get our physical activity practice back going, when we've been out of practice for a while and we want to get an exercise routine again, we start out the gate like, phew! And as a result, we don't listen to our body. We're uber sore. We can get injuries, which then sets us back 10 steps. And so even when it comes to exercising, taking it slow, if you're someone who you haven't been exercising a lot lately, maybe start with stretching or start with walking or swimming or something that's not so heavy and hard on the body. Because a lot of times too, when you exercise and it just totally kicks your butt, then you don't fully appreciate the endorphins afterwards and the quote unquote high that you feel afterwards because you're so freaking exhausted. So tip number 1 is to slow down in every aspect of your life. Tip number 2 is to recognize and even like jot down, even if it's on your phone or a physical journal, jot down when you're having physical symptoms. Because a lot of times too, we accept physical symptoms as just a part of life, and we don't think, oh, it's something our body's trying to tell us, which is the case. That's why we're in pain. That's why we hurt. It's because our body's telling us, I did not like that. I did not like when you did this and that, so now I'm shaking, or now I'm going to give you a headache, or now I'm going to give you joint pain, or now I'm going to give you fogginess and you're not going to be able to concentrate. Mona's carrying a huge stick. And so a lot of times we just like write it off as we're not having a good day, or I just need to take a nap or go to bed early, or whatever it may be. But recognizing those and taking the time to then think back on what may have caused those symptoms. So whether it's physical pain or even mental pain, recognizing those and identifying why they happened. Tip number 3, so many of our hunger cues or food choices a lot of times, unfortunately, are correlated with our emotions. So really learning your emotions and not what causes those emotions, because a lot of the emotions are external, a lot of them are internal too, but more of recognizing when you feel this emotion, then you typically do this. So when you're feeling anxious, then you typically go have a cigarette. Or when you're feeling sad, then you typically eat candy or whatever it may be. But being able to make those connections of when I just want to relax and I've had a stressful day, then that's when I do this. And kind of building those connections and understanding those more clearly. Because whenever we become, and I think what's sad is like being emotional or being in touch with your emotions oftentimes is seen as a bad thing, and that's not the case at all. To me, I mean, part of the journey of life is learning about yourself and becoming a better person, and becoming a better person through interactions with other people. And so it's, to me, I admire people who are very in touch with how they feel and are able to then explain why they feel that way, and as a result, what they do because of it. So making those connections, again, I'm a huge fan of journaling. I love writing down because that's actually seeing it, to me, puts it to memory. I'm a very visual person. And so exactly writing down your emotions and kind of connecting what your coping mechanisms of those emotions are. And if those coping mechanisms aren't healthy, then taking steps and making goals to make those changes and to make your coping mechanisms be healthy. My 4th recommendation is, at least when you're kind of relearning this whole idea of listening to your body, get rid of distractions whenever you're eating. And this should be a practice anyways, but unfortunately, typically we have 1,000,001 distractions when we're eating. And so, especially when you're going through this time of trying to listen to your body, get rid of all distractions. And unfortunately, I think that's really hard for us. It's a lot of times hard to just sit there and focus on one thing because we're so used to having to focus on 1,000,000 things. But focusing on one thing and having that be 100% of your attention, it allows you to then better recognize when you're full or when you might want a little bit more. And as a result, also hopefully at the same time, you're slowing down and really starting to recognize those cues. And we're not perfect. No one's perfect. And so if you're someone who you aren't able to recognize those cues, then that's the whole reason of starting this practice and starting this journey. So it's okay if the first however long you have no idea what you're trying to listen for or what's going on, because your body will start talking to you. And I believe it's always talking to you. It's just figuring out how it's talking to you and things like that. I hope I'm not sounding cuckoo when I'm saying all this. But I swear, my body talks to me all the time. And it's not like an audible talk. I'm not hearing voices. And it's not that I necessarily talk back to it. We just have this, my mental and physical body have this relationship. That's why we're a body. And yeah. That's why I'm not crazy. Tip number 5 is to throw all expectations out the window, and start afresh. Start with a clean slate. Don't put numbers or restrictions on yourself. Don't say, which this is true. It takes 20 minutes for your stomach to talk to your brain, and your brain to be like, I'm full. But throw all that out the window. Throw out calories, throw out grams of fat, throw out all that out the window. And throw out any expectation that you have, and just start afresh. And start with fresh fruit. Well, yes, fresh fruit, but I meant to say fresh food. Start with the produce section of your grocery store and go from there and do what feels right. Try and limit as many processed foods as possible. And again, anything that anyone else has ever said, just throw it out the window. Because listening to your body means not listening to what other people are telling you to do, but listening to what you're telling yourself what feels the best. Because so-and-so doesn't know what feels good for you. So-and-so doesn't know what gives you energy. So again, my recommendations: start with fresh, wholesome ingredients and foods, and sit down, take your time, slow down, relax, take a chill pill, and start this journey on listening to your body. So I hope these tips help you out. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to leave them below. If you have any additional suggestions for people who are wanting to start listening to their body, then feel free to leave those below. Also, I'm going to leave a link to my book below. It's all about living a plant-based lifestyle. And I'm also available for meal planning and one-on-one counseling, so I'll leave the link to my website below as well. And as always, if you have any suggestions for future videos, holla at me. And I hope y'all are doing well. Good luck if you're starting your journey. I'm here for you, and I'll be seeing you on my next video. Bye.